Level 1. The stolen envelope. You're 26, and you walk a mail route for the Postal Service. $22 an hour. 340 addresses across 12 miles, 6 days a week, 8 months of the same streets until you know them the way you know your own apartment. Automatically, without thinking, without looking up. You know which 3 houses on Meridian get payroll checks every other Friday. You know the dentist's office on Park sends vendor payments on the 1st and the 15th. You know which mailboxes have broken locks. You know the stretch of Fenwick between the oak tree and the fire hydrant where the nearest camera is 400 feet away and points at the intersection, not the mailboxes. You know all of this because your job is to know it. It takes 8 months to learn a route properly. You learn this one in 6. On a Thursday afternoon in October, you open a mailbox on Fenwick and find an unsealed envelope sitting loose on top of the outgoing stack. Personal check, $340, made out to a utility company. The flap wasn't sealed. You look at it for 4 seconds. You reseal it with your thumb, put it in the outgoing collection bag, and finish the block. You file the route exception report at the end of your shift the way you always do. You go home. You don't do anything with what you just found. You think about it for 2 weeks. The thinking produces one conclusion. The check wasn't special. The address wasn't special. What was special was the mailbox, broken lock, Fenwick stretch, camera facing the intersection. The envelope was there because the conditions for an envelope to be there were already in place before you arrived. You build a map of those conditions over 8 months without knowing that's what you were building. In week 3, you go back to Fenwick. Different envelope, different sender. Personal check, $780, made out to a mortgage company. Sealed. You take it. You walk the rest of the block. You finish the route. That evening, you alter the payee name in blue ballpoint. Your name, written in a hand close enough to plausible. And the next morning, you cash it at a check cashing service 2 towns over. The teller doesn't call the bank. The transaction takes 6 minutes. $780 in cash at 11:14 a.m. You're back on the route by noon. The homeowner calls the mortgage company when the payment doesn't arrive. The mortgage company contacts the bank. The bank opens a fraud dispute and replaces the funds in 11 days, the loss absorbed, the account made whole, the matter treated as a resolved billing incident. A fraud coordinator sends 3 emails to a USPS field office. The field office is handling 340 open complaints. Nothing connects this check to anything. There is nothing to connect it to yet. You go to work the following Tuesday. You walk all 340 addresses. You take 1 envelope from Fenwick. By month 3, you've taken 22 checks from 14 addresses. $14,200 total. You vary the houses. You vary the weeks. You never take 2 from the same address in the same month. You keep a handwritten log in a notebook you store in the kitchen drawer. Address, date, amount, where it was cashed. The $780 check is in the same drawer. You didn't cash it. You altered the payee and then decided not to use it and put it there instead. You haven't looked at it since March. You don't know exactly why you kept it. You know you're not ready to throw it away. $780 is 35.5 hours of walking this route in November. You made it in 7 minutes and an altered payee line. You've made $14,200 in 3 months, and you've walked every address correctly every day and filed every exception report on time, and the distinction between those 2 things is the only thing you think about on the Fenwick stretch between the oak tree and the fire hydrant. The camera still points at the intersection. You still know which way it faces. You've known since month 2. Level 2. The check washer. The ceiling is $645. That's the average value of a personal check written to a utility company or a mortgage servicer. Amounts that don't trigger a verification call. The payroll check on Meridian is $2,200. The vendor payment from the dentist's office is $6,200. You cannot alter those amounts in Ballpoint and present them at a check cashing service. The teller calls the originating bank for anything over $1,500. The call takes 3 minutes. The check never clears. The $645 ceiling is a routing problem. You have the right streets and the right mailboxes and the right camera knowledge. What you don't have is a way to process the checks that are actually worth processing. In month 4, you learn about washing. Acetone dissolves ballpoint ink in under 90 seconds. The check's security paper is unaffected. The routing number is unaffected. The account number is unaffected. The original signature stays exactly where it was. What you're left with is a blank document with a valid bank account already on it and a real signature already on it, and you can write anything you want on top of it. You test it on 10 personal checks you write to yourself first. The ink lifts clean every time. You practice the rewriting, new payee name, new amount, same ballpoint, same pressure as the original signer. By the 8th check, your handwriting is indistinguishable from the original in standard teller lighting. In month 5, you wash the dentist's office check. $6,200 becomes $6,200 made out to an account you control. You open the account at a branch you've never visited under a name variation close enough to legitimate. The check clears in 48 hours. You withdraw the full amount across 3 ATM transactions before the dentist's office notices the vendor payment didn't arrive. $6,200 from one afternoon and a bottle of acetone you bought at a hardware store for $8. You recruit Marcus first. He's been a friend since you were both 19, now works warehouse receiving, needs the money in a way he won't explain and you don't ask about. You tell him it's a payment processing side business. Companies that need checks cleared quickly use intermediaries. Marcus asks 2 questions. You answer both. Marcus stops asking questions. The arrangement. Marcus opens a new account, deposits a check you provide, withdraws the full amount within 72 hours, hands you the cash. You pay him $300 per cleared check. Marcus's first deposit clears on a Tuesday. He calls you at 4 p.m. to confirm. You have the cash by Wednesday evening. You recruit the friend the same week. Same explanation, same $300 cut, same silence. 2 people depositing checks at separate banks in separate towns. Banks begin flagging the pattern within 6 weeks. New account, large first deposit, rapid full withdrawal. You rotate the deposit banks every 3 weeks. You introduce money orders instead of ATM withdrawals after the first flag on Marcus's second account. The money orders slow the cash conversion by 4 days, but eliminate the ATM footage. The 14 banks receiving fraud disputes are each resolving them as individual incidents. Each dispute sits in its own institution's fraud system, a billing anomaly, a replaced loss, a closed file. The pattern that connects all 14 exists only if someone looks at all 14 simultaneously. Nobody is doing that yet. The disputes aren't generating investigation. They're generating refunds. You are still on the route, still walking 340 addresses, still clipping the blue ballpoint to your shirt pocket every morning. The scanner logs your GPS position at every delivery point, your location against every mailbox, every pickup, every street on the 12 miles, time-stamped and stored. You know this. You filed enough exception reports to understand what the scanner captures. You think about the scanner the way you think about the camera on Fenwick. You note it. You file it. You keep moving. By month 6, you're clearing $18,000 a month. Marcus has made $4,200. The friend has made $3,900. The acetone bottle from the hardware store is on its second replacement. You buy the replacement at a different store. The $780 check is still in the kitchen drawer. You haven't touched it in 4 months. You're not sure anymore if you kept it as a record or as something else. You haven't decided which answer is worse. Level 3. The fraud network. You quit the route in month 7. The GPS scanner logs your position against every mailbox on the 12 miles. Every pickup, every delivery, every exception report, time-stamped and stored in the carrier's system with your employee ID. The scanner doesn't log what you take. It logs where you were when you took it. You've understood that distinction since month 2. In month 7, you act on it. You recruit 3 current postal workers through a logistics contact who asks no questions about your arrangement. 2 carry city routes in different districts. 1 works the sorting facility and has access to outgoing bulk mail before it reaches the street. You pay $400 per batch of collected envelopes, delivered to a parking structure on Delaney twice a week. You tell them it's a market research operation verifying mail delivery accuracy across carrier districts. They accept $400 per batch. None of them press further. Marlowe handles the physical pickups. You found Marlowe through the logistics contact, a man who moves between jobs without a clear history of staying at any of them, which makes him useful and makes him something you can't entirely verify. Marlowe picks up the batches from the postal workers, delivers to the rented unit on Ashton, collects the money. Marlowe has never seen the inside of a bank in connection with this operation. You have never put Marlowe's name in writing. The rented unit on Ashton runs 3 people in shifts. 1 soaks and dries. 1 rewrites. 1 manages the account rotation. You are not one of the 3. You coordinate by prepaid phone and visit the unit on Thursdays to collect and count. In month 9, you stop washing. The acetone method leaves microscopic chemical traces in the paper fibers. A bank forensic lab can detect the residue on a flagged check if the check reaches investigation level. It doesn't happen often. It will eventually happen. You switch before it does. You scan each stolen check at high resolution. Image editing software removes the payee name and the dollar amount while leaving the original signature, the routing number, the account number, and all of the security background printing completely intact. You print the result onto blank check stock that passes automated bank verification. The same stock sold legally in the commercial printing section of any office supply store for businesses that print their own checks. The blank check stock produces counterfeits that a teller cannot distinguish from the original under standard branch lighting. The automated verification system compares the MICR code at the bottom of the check. The MICR code comes from the original. It passes. You can produce 14 counterfeits from a single stolen check before the victim's account triggers a pattern flag. The dentist's office check from month 5, the $6,200 vendor payment, the first real check you washed, is still producing counterfeits in month 9. It has been printed 11 times. You stop it at 12 as a precaution, not because anything has gone wrong. Each counterfeit has a 72-hour window from deposit to withdrawal before the back-end systems compare the incoming check to the original account record and identify the duplication. You run nothing past 68 hours. The window is structural. You treat it like the 6-minute ceiling you had in mind from the washing phase, not a guideline, a ceiling. The operation now runs across 3 cities. Stolen envelopes sourced from 3 carrier routes in 2 states. Printed in the rented unit on Ashton. Deposited through 60 rotating accounts. Cash moved through Marcus and the Friend and the Money Mule network Marlowe manages on the downstream side. You have not touched a check since month 7. You have not deposited anything since month 5. You have not visited an ATM since the 3rd week of month 6. You moved $340,000 across 11 months. The 14 banks that were resolving disputes individually in month 6 are now resolving disputes individually in month 11. The total has grown. The independence of each institution's resolution hasn't changed. You count the $340,000 the same way you counted the $14,200 from the early months, in the kitchen, from the notebook on the table, methodically and without celebration. The blue ballpoint pen from the route is still in your jacket pocket. You don't wear a postal uniform anymore. You clip the pen to the jacket the same way you clipped it to the shirt pocket. The pen is the one constant. You've never replaced it. You've thought about replacing it twice, and both times decided not to. Level 4. The federal case. The Secret Service Financial Crimes Unit opens a case in month 9. Not from a fraud report. From a Federal Reserve monitoring flag that identifies 47 accounts cycling in mathematically identical 21-day windows across 3 cities. The accounts share no owners, no banks, no zip codes. They share one thing. The deposit to withdrawal timeline is precisely the same across all 47. That kind of precision is a signature. The Secret Service reads it as one. The task force pulls ATM surveillance footage from 23 machines across the 3 cities. 14 different faces making withdrawals. But the withdrawal timing clusters within a 4-hour window on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesday and Thursday are Marlowe's pickup days from the postal workers. The task force doesn't know that yet. They follow the timing. One of the money mules from the network's downstream side is arrested on an unrelated charge in month 11. She cooperates the same afternoon. She names Marlowe. Marlowe's phone has photos of stolen mail batches sent to the Ashton unit address before pickup. Both of the postal workers Marlowe sourced cooperate before their second interview. Their phones have the same batch photos from the other direction, sent from the route to Marlowe's number. The rented unit on Ashton has been emptied, but the building has an entrance camera. 11 separate occasions across 4 months. You entering and leaving without a mask because you thought about the ATM cameras and the street cameras near the mailboxes, and you did not think about the camera mounted above the entrance door of the building you used every Thursday. The prepaid phone that coordinated the operation traces to a purchase at a hardware store in month 7. The hardware store has a loyalty program. The purchase was made using a loyalty account registered to your home address. The same loyalty account was used in month 4 to buy acetone, twice, at the same store, before you started buying replacements elsewhere. The month 4 acetone purchases put you inside the operation before you quit the route. The building entrance footage puts you inside the operation after you quit. The loyalty account connects both. They arrest you on a Tuesday morning. You are walking the old route. You don't carry mail anymore, but you still walk it sometimes. The 12 miles automatic after 2 years. The route still in your legs even when your hands are empty. You are on the Fenwick stretch between the oak tree and the fire hydrant when the agents approach. The camera at the intersection is 400 feet away and points at the wrong direction. It has always pointed at the wrong direction. It doesn't matter anymore. The blue ballpoint pen is clipped to your jacket pocket. You've kept it there since the route. The agent photographs it as part of the evidence documentation. It is the only object from the route that made it to the jacket. The charges are federal. Mail theft for the envelopes. Bank fraud for the counterfeits. Conspiracy covering the postal workers, the washing team, Marlowe, and the Mule Network. Conspiracy is the one that changes the weight of everything else. You built the system. Building the system is what conspiracy charges exist to punish. The cooperating postal worker gets 18 months. The drop contact gets 24. You get 52 months because the route knowledge that started the operation was yours alone, and the operation that grew from it was yours in the way that only the architect's is. You serve 44 months. A federal mail theft conviction is a permanent bar from USPS employment. The route knowledge you built over 6 months, the payroll patterns, the mailbox locks, the camera angles, the Fenwick stretch, is the only professional credential that can't be put on a resume. You get a job at a courier company. Different van, different scanner, different uniform, same 12 miles. You knew this route before they gave it to you. You knew the Fenwick stretch, the dentist's office on Park, the 3 houses on Meridian, the camera at the intersection that faces the wrong direction. You deliver to all of it now without taking anything. You don't know if that constitutes improvement or just a different arrangement of the same facts. The $780 check is still in the kitchen drawer in an apartment you no longer rent. You don't know what the new tenants did with it. You didn't throw it away before you left. You couldn't explain why if someone asked. The route is still there. The mailboxes are still there. The camera on Fenwick still faces the wrong direction. The only thing that changed is what I do when I walk past them.